Oh my goodness. Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today, I just wanted to share 5 different orchids with you. These are, well, most of these, 4 of the 5 are on the way to an orchid meeting where we have, just kind of the members judging, not American Orchid Society judging, but just members judging. And I'm bringing them in, and I'm so excited because the speaker at tonight's meeting is Fred Clark of Sunset Valley Orchids. So I haven't seen Fred in a long time. I don't know if he'll remember me. I hope he does, but who knows? And that's really the main reason that I'm going. The plants that are right here that I'm bringing into the meeting tonight, I'm not going to clean them up at all. I'm just gonna, and some of them don't look great, but I'm just gonna bring them in for fun. I enjoy meeting with my fellow orchid growers. I enjoy sharing my orchids with you and with the local society, but I'm also really excited to see what Fred has to say. And I think his presentation tonight is going to be on how he culls his orchids, how he goes through and removes the low performers in his collection. And that's one of the reasons that he has such great plants, is he culls them. He gets rid of the runts and the low performers, the ones that don't do really well. I'm pretty sure that's what he's going to talk with us about tonight, but we'll see. And I can report back to you on that, maybe one of my next videos. But what I have today is I want to share with you 5 different orchids, and I've got a little bit of stories behind some of them. The first one that I'm not going to move, that's on the table right here, is River Quai Pink. And this plant is just getting huge, and I've shared it with you recently because it's like always blooming. So right now, and I just took 3 faded blooms off of this plant, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. It has 2 nice blooms on the plant, but it also has 2 additional bloom spikes, 2 blooms on one of those spikes and 1 bloom on the last one. And those look like they're going to be open probably within the week. So those are really close. They're not going to be open for the meeting tonight, but it's okay. It's a hybrid that I'm planning on crossing. I've got a dark red cattleya that I'm going to cross onto this, and that'll be my last effort. If I get a seed capsule on it, that's fine. If I don't get a seed capsule on it, this plant's getting so big it probably needs to be divided. And as I was moving it around today, it's on a 4-wire hanger. One of the wires broke. It's been in there for a long time, even though it's galvanized steel. These wire hangers, they over time, they tend to kind of degrade a little bit, and it just simply broke from age. So, and it can handle growing, it can handle hanging with 3 wire, but I'm not really sure I trust it that much longer. All right, so River Quai Pink right here, and this one is not coming to the meeting tonight. Okay, moving on just a little bit, the one right behind River Quai Pink is one of my favorites, and there's only a single bloom or a single spike on this, 2 blooms, but this is amazing Thailand, and the cultivar on this is Finer Flare. So this is a plant that I had awarded, I think probably maybe around 6 months ago. It was awarded by the American Orchid Society judges. I think it got an 84, so it's an AM award. This plant is this thing just keeps on going. It's been blooming almost, I wouldn't say nonstop. It puts out a bloom, it takes a break for a couple of months, puts on another bloom, and I just harvested, I guess you can see this, I just harvested a seed capsule off of this plant probably about a month ago. But what's going on with this is there's another seed capsule forming on this plant here that was, that's a good hybrid. That was made 2 months ago. So it's a small seed capsule that's forming. And because it's so small at this point, this plant usually makes really big seed capsules. And because it's so small at this point, maybe it's not going to give me anything. I don't know. But this plant is getting big. It grows upright. It has new pseudobulbs that come out really all over the place in the middle at the growing points right here. I don't see any new, and it could use a repot and a larger pot, but this is a big, heavy plant. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this plant, to be honest, as far as if I'm going to divide it or just put it in a bigger pot. Again, the problem with me putting all of my orchids in bigger pots is I hang all but just a couple of my orchids. And maybe this is one of those that deserves one of my few spaces where I can sit the pot down on something because it is so heavy. It's an awarded plant. It's a big plant, grows nicely. One of my favorites. And we'll see. But the other thing on this, and I should say River Quai Pink is nicely fragrant, but I just pulled this down out of my pergola today. This is also just beautifully fragrant. This is an orchid that I think I strongly recommend it. It's a good, vigorous grower. The flaring and the colors, this is a combination of a yellow sepals and petals with different yellow coloration in the sepals, but the petals have that same yellow plus some dark red flaring. The lip of this plant also has some nice red coloration. What I'm hoping with this cross here is I crossed it onto another large flared cattleya, and I'm hoping to bring maybe a little bit of yellow into the throat of this flower. But this is a great plant, big flower, grows upright, beautifully fragrant, very florific, amazing Thailand. This is Finer Flare. You won't be able to find Finer Flare anywhere because this is the awarded plant right here, and there's only one of them. But Amazing Thailand Rainbow is also it's very similar to this plant. All right, moving on. Let's move on to this plant in the front. And this is one that I've had. I should say that I got both of these plants from, and maybe this one too, can't tell. I got these plants from RF Orchids in Homestead, Florida. I picked up, this is Hamlin's Magic. Is there a cultivar on this? I don't know. In the pot, and the tag is stuck in the pot because the roots on this plant are growing so crazy. But this is a Nodosa hybrid, and it has this nice big star-shaped flower. This has also been blooming off and on, blooms every few months. These are some old flowers right here that have lost a little bit of their coloration. This is a new flower that just opened up today right here, and there's another bloom right here that will probably be open in a day or two. But this is not fragrant now. These Nodosa plants and hybrids, if they're fragrant at all, they're at night, and I don't usually go out and smell my orchids at night. But this still is a really nice, vigorous hybrid that's here. The other thing, as I look at this plant, I go down here in the middle of this plant, and I have a seed capsule forming on this plant. And this seed capsule, this is big. It looks like it was pollinated the same day as this one. So a couple of months, so this capsule in here is a couple of months old, but I just really like this plant. I got this probably maybe a year to a year and a half ago. I've already divided the plant. I've given the division to a colleague. I had some pseudobulbs that kind of fell off when I was dividing it, and I put those on, I mounted those on cedar boards, and those haven't flowered yet, but they're still doing well. This is just a really nice floriferous plant. It's smaller, as you can tell, but I really like Hamlin's Magic because of the, the color, and mostly because it's such a vigorous plant. And I'm using this in my crosses. I think I've made some previous crosses on this, and I think I have seedlings from that in the laboratory. Okay, moving on. So Hamlin's Magic right here, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but I picked this up at Sundance Orchids and Bromeliads in Fort Myers, and they're having their 25th anniversary plant sale. I think maybe by the time I release this video, maybe it'll only be a week away. But they're having their 25th anniversary sale coming up, and a lot of the plants that I purchase from RF and from Sundance, they do really, really well for me here. So I strongly recommend orchid purchases from those growers because, when the plants do well in my care, that to me means that they're growing them right and they can transition nicely to the environment that I have here and possibly to the environment that you can provide also. All right, moving on. This is another plant. I'm recommending a lot of plants, but this is Yellowbird. And Yellowbird is yet another Nodosa cross. The flowers are star-shaped. I like this flower. And as you can tell, it has, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I just saw another spike here. So there's 4 bloom spikes that have open flowers on them. There are 2 additional bloom spikes that look like they only have 1 flower on each spike that are on the back of the plant here. This is, again, another Nodosa hybrid that is incredibly floriferous. I don't know if there's any fragrance on this. Again, I haven't been out to smell this at night, but you look at even the back side of this plant, front side everywhere, new pseudobulbs coming out like crazy on this plant. This is a really vigorous but contained plant. I imagine soon, this is going to be growing out of the pot, but I don't know if I need to, either divide it or repot it. But this is this is a really strongly growing, vigorous hybrid. So this is, again, Yellowbird with some nice spotting on the flowers. And I think this individual plant was made by, I think it was Roy Takanaga at H&R, made the cross that generated this. And I think that a lot of the Yellowbirds that you see, there's variation in them because I think they still get them from seed. I don't know if any of these Yellowbirds are cloned. I actually don't know. I don't think this one is. So you see some variation, and the variation largely is the spotting, and this is one that I like because there's so much spotting that's associated with this flower. This thing, again, blooms constantly. I'm pulling the tag out to see because I have yet again another seed capsule on this plant. I crossed it with a spotted cattleya just to see what I'm going to get. This cross was only made a month ago. So again, this thing is, you can see all the spent, or maybe you can't see, there's a lot of spent, flower spikes on this. Yeah, I'm seeing that's a spent one. I didn't know if that was a spent one or an up and coming. And as I moved this out of my pergola, I looked down on the ground and I saw a flower. So as I was taking this out of a very crowded space in my pergola, I saw that I had knocked off a flower, but you can't tell, and I'm not upset because there's so many flowers that are on this plant. Okay, anyway, this is Brassicattleya Yellowbird, and this is coming with me to the meeting tonight. These plants, a lot of these Nodosa hybrids like this, they get big, and they're largely very floriferous, so it wouldn't surprise me. This one may not be as common as Yellowbird. Yellowbird is very common. You can get these at I think Home Depot and Lowe's. Again, they're really common plants, and they they do really well. And I've seen a lot of plants, when I was getting to this, I've seen a lot of plants of Yellowbird that are huge, that are just covered with flowers. So this one, even though for me right now it looks like there's a lot of flowers on it, I've seen plants that have been even more loaded than this one. Okay, the last plant that I want to share with you today is down here. And I've shared this with you recently, and I have it down here because this won't set on its base because there are just roots. This thing is growing out of the pot, and there are roots all over the place, on the side of the pot, below the pot, everywhere. This is another plant that is incredibly floriferous, and I'm not getting any fragrance from this. And these flowers are actually well past the prime. The back of the flowers are starting to turn yellow. The flowers themselves are starting to fade. But in addition, and this plant has been blooming for quite a while, but in addition to these, there are 4 open flowers on this spike. You look back here and there are 4 unopened flowers on another spike. So this thing is this is incredibly vigorous. I've got, new pseudobulbs growing out of this thing, growing out of the side of the pot. And this is, I should mention, I got this from RF Orchids. And this is RTH Nell Hammer Golden Lady. And this is a lot of times when Nell Hammer, when you see images of the flower, they're yellow, flared yellow with a light yellow and a dark yellow coloration. This is an unusual seedling because it has red in the base of the lip. And again, the flowers here are a little past prime, but it's a very nice flower. And again, the main thing that I like about this plant is how incredibly vigorous it is. So it's growing outside the pot, over the side of the pot, just really on one side over here, and it's on the ground in a supporting container because because it's so side heavy, I don't think it'll stand up on its own. When I go to the meeting, I'm probably going to have to hang this flower this plant just because it is so side heavy. The reason that I'm bringing this to the meeting tonight, I'm not going to get, I don't really know if I'm going to get any awards on this. I want to show the people the hybrids that I'm attempting to make here, and maybe talk to Fred if he's interested. He usually gets swamped at these meetings. But if he's curious to see the hybrids that I'm making, I'm happy to share what the crosses that I made with him. But the main reason that I'm bringing this to the meeting is because this plant really needs to be divided. So I think there's probably there's at least 2, maybe 3 plants in there. And these are the people that attend these meetings. These are my orchid growing colleagues that are local, and it's really easy for me to divide a plant and share that. And they have plants that they then in turn share with me. So I'm bringing this just so I can show people what the flower looks like in person. And there's just a few people at this meeting that I tend to trade with because they have really nice plants also. So I'm going to bring them in there, see if anyone, because this is, again, you can get an idea of vigor by how big the plant is and how it's like falling over because it's growing so nicely. And I just like the opportunity to share my plants with my orchid growing colleagues and that I have at the local orchid societies. Some of the orchid societies, they do have like a trading table. You got to be careful about just trading orchids with people because you got to watch out for insects. The main thing that I watch out for is viruses. So there's only a few people that I share with because I'm really careful about bringing viruses into my orchid collection. I don't want that. So trading tables at these orchid meetings, I used to openly trade with a lot of different people, but over time what I found is I only trade with a few people who I know are doing virus testing and who I trust that their plants are going to be clean. All right, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. So many more buds coming, so many more plants coming. It's an exciting time. I had to be very selective with just bringing just these plants because I have a few more plants that I might want to bring. But I'm curious to see how many other people are bringing plants to this meeting and what kind of show there's going to be. All right. That's all I have for you today. If you liked what you saw today and you want to keep on seeing my videos, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right. Once again, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.